And the Senate is voting right now on a resolution to require congressional authorization for military force against Venezuela. Last night, the president said the U.S. could control Venezuela for years. Now this bill could limit his authority to do that, but it's not clear if it has enough support to pass. Let's bring in ABC's Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill, White House correspondent Karen Travers, and senior Pentagon reporter Luis Martinez for more on that. So, Jay, walk us through the details of what's in this bill, and what are you watching for during this vote?
So this is a war powers resolution, Diane, that if it were to pass out of the Senate and the House and be signed by the president, which is a tall order, a big if, it would rein in President Trump's military powers in theory in Venezuela. But because it has a number of different stops, including either a signature from the president or Congress overriding a veto if it even were to get to the president's desk before it became law, what you should really look at this as right now is a largely symbolic vote. We've seen Democrats over the last few weeks and months here bring resolutions to the floor of both the House and the Senate to try to curtail President Trump's military powers in Venezuela when it became clear there was a buildup of U.S. military assets in the region, and try to curtail President Trump's military powers when the administration was striking what it called suspected drug boats in the Caribbean. Those have all failed. They've never gotten the required number of Republican votes, but some of the previous resolutions have gotten a handful of Republicans to support them. And if you got a handful of Republicans this time around, it doesn't look like it would still have the numbers to pass, because we're tracking at least one Democrat who might vote no on this, John Fetterman of Pennsylvania. But it would be a serious rebuke to President Trump, because you would have Republicans in the Senate voting to curtail his military powers in Venezuela after a military operation to capture Maduro, after the administration has already taken military action in that country. So watch to see how many Republicans vote yes on this. We're tracking likely 2 at this hour, Rand Paul and Lisa Murkowski. Do others join them is the big question right now.
And Karen, President Trump is set to meet with several oil executives tomorrow to discuss potential investments in Venezuela. What do we know so far about the plans for that meeting?
The president is going to have that meeting tomorrow. The White House is not revealing any details, including who he is sitting down with. But the president, in a new interview with the New York Times, indicating that the United States would be controlling Venezuela's oil reserves indefinitely. He was asked whether this could take 3 months, 6 months, a year or longer, and he said he thinks it could be longer than that. He also was very clear and very candid, as he has been in the last several days, when he said, quote, "We're going to be taking oil." And he said we'll be doing it in a profitable way. Now, the other part of this here is what happens next in Venezuela and whether there will be elections at some point soon. The administration says that they have maximum leverage right now over the interim authorities there. And that's who they're working out the deal with to first get that 30 to 50 million barrels of oil. And then, of course, we'll be working out some sort of short to long-term deal to extract oil. And right now, they have that leverage. And the question would be, if there was the opposition back in charge in Venezuela, would that limit the administration's leverage? And does that factor into the calculations right now of the Trump administration?
And Louis, Russia insists the U.S. seizure of an oil tanker in the North Atlantic was illegal. It says the U.S., I'm quoting here, repeatedly received reliable information regarding the vessel's Russian affiliation and its civilian peaceful status. What's the latest on that operation and where that conversation goes now?
Well, Diane, a lot of new information in that statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Russia, namely that the ship, the Bella 1, now called the Marinera, because the Russians are saying that it received temporary flagging from Russia on December 24th, and that it was headed to a Russian port. That is new information. They are also saying in their statement that they feel that this action that the United States has carried out is illegal and being carried out under illegitimate authorities, which they say can only bring a new escalation in what they call the Euro-Atlantic area, which would obviously be involving them. And so the new concern being raised by the Russian government about this operation, which took place yesterday, very far North Atlantic in terms of how far away this was. We're talking several hundred miles just south of Iceland and far west of Great Britain. And so a lot of effort being made to undertake that raid yesterday that seized the crew. and the ship it appears to be making its way eastward right now. Unclear exactly where it's headed. But among the crew, there are some Russian mariners, and so that was also something that the Russian Foreign Ministry raised, that they want to see assurances that the United States is going to guarantee their safety in whatever process follows, because it's possible that these individuals who were seized aboard the vessel, the Bella 1 or the Marinera, are going to face potential prosecution, possibly in the United States. That's a possibility. No certainty yet that that's actually going to happen, though.
Jay O'Brien, Karen Travers, Luis Martinez, thank you.